And you join me today as my morning flight descends across Lake Geneva into Geneva Airport. And once through passport control, I'm straight out into the airport, taking the pretty short walk along to the railway station. And as you enter the station area, there's a departure board and some ticket machines. But I won't be needing them as I'm starting another Interrail trip. As I'm making my way to Zürich this morning, I need the InterCity train for her, which is booked to leave from platform 4. The preceding train to Lausanne is just about to leave, so I'll let that go and then we'll pop down to the platform. And as you probably saw, if the edit department cut some pictures of landing in an aeroplane, yeah, I've landed here at Geneva Airport. And this is going to be one of the first trips I'm going to do ever in Switzerland. We landed, I thought we had plenty of time to catch this 11:32, and then it took forever to get off the plane, to go on the buses and do all that. But actually when we got to passport control, went straight through really quickly, and probably as you saw, the connection between the airport itself and this station is completely seamless. So yeah, I'm here with about 25 minutes to spare, so brilliant. So we're going to go from here in Geneva Airport and straight down through Geneva and then up to Zurich. Yeah, it should be a good ride. I've got a first class Interrail ticket and hopefully there'll be a dining car because we're leaving at 11:32 from here. So ideal time to get some lunch while we're on the train. So let's hope that works. This is the start of a selection of trips around Switzerland. So I really am looking forward to this and I hope you enjoy them. And I'll see you on the train. And here's our train inbound, and it's a pair of Class 502 Twindexx EMUs, which were built by Bombardier and entered service between 2017 and 2022. Now, we won't have long. Note how the Swiss do not wait for the driver to move from one end to the other. Rather, they have a new driver that jumps on here. So let's get up the stairs and find a space in first class, and it looks like I've got it all to myself. As you'd expect, it's in a 2+1 configuration with mostly table seating. And this pair right at the front have pretty much unlimited legroom. Everything inside is in SBB colours and it looks really good. And of course, being double deck, there's almost no space in the overhead racks, but there are spaces behind the seats for luggage, and there is a luggage stack at the top of the stairs too. There are reading lights and the seats come with a tiny bit of recline. The pale ash tables look great and they fold out when required, and there's also a bin and a couple of Swiss-style power sockets underneath the seat. There's also a good wide retractable armrest and the seat itself is very comfortable. Now, the blind at this window was a bit dodgy, but it eventually went back into place. Right, we're moving now, and there's a whole lot of reflection because we're inside the tunnel, so I'm going to stick on my homemade lens cover. That's better. It's just a 7-minute hop to Geneva's main station. That's a very handy connection between airport and city, and with a second-class single costing just 4 Swiss francs, it's also a pretty good deal. Now, the bus costs the same, but it takes 30 minutes, although I suppose it will be handier for the people that use the bus's intermediate stops. And out of the window is a TGV Lyria set. These provide a direct connection to Paris about every 2 hours during the day, with journey times around 4 hours and 18 minutes. North of the station are many stabling yards, and then beyond that there's a nice view of the Botanic Gardens. And then we begin to skirt the shore of Lake Geneva on our way round to Lausanne. I'm reliably informed that Nyon is an excellent place to base yourself if you're visiting the region, as accommodation is a little cheaper around here than in Geneva itself. And as we rumble around the lake, let's talk about these trains. Well, they've actually had quite a checkered history, as they were intended to have technology called WACO, Active Roll Compensation, which is a form of tilting technology designed to improve speeds in the corners. But it produced a terrible ride for passengers and staff, so in the end the software was decommissioned and travel times had to be lengthened. The view of the mountains to the south of the lake give me a tantalising taste of journeys yet to come on this Interrail to Switzerland. Lausanne is a junction of various lines running in from the north, east and west, and so it's no surprise that there are extensive marshalling yards here. And Lausanne itself is where we will bid goodbye to Lake Geneva and then strike out northwesterly for Bern and Zürich. But before we leave the lake, it has a few views left up its sleeve. As we depart, the lines to the right will stay hugging the lakeside around to Montreux, but we will immediately climb above the lake looking for a pass through to the north. And soon the SBB stabling yards fall away below us as the train quickly climbs out of the station. And wow, this is the kind of thing you come to Switzerland to see. These south-facing slopes make an excellent place for cultivation, and you'd certainly get a pretty good view if you worked these fields. And somewhere over there I reckon is Chamonix and Mont Blanc. And as we keep on climbing, the views get better and better, and you can almost see all the way back down the lake to Geneva. And Granvaux is a station with the most wonderful views from the platform. What a lovely place to have to wait for a train. And then suddenly, that's it. So as we head through to Fribourg, I think it's time for lunch, and I've ordered a beer and a bowl of soup. Fribourg marks the end of French-speaking Switzerland and the start of the mainly German-speaking regions. Hence the dual personality when it comes to names. And the soup was pretty good, although I must say the beer was the nicer of the two. But that should be enough to keep me going until my evening meal. I'm just going to relax here as I sip my beer as we make our way on to Bern. Now, Switzerland is effectively a federation of separate cantons and officially has no capital city, although Bern is the de facto capital, often referred to as the federal city, as this is where the Federal Assembly meets. Beyond the station, the train crosses the Areure on the Lorraine Viaduct. Very impressive. Right, I'm back in first class now, so let's have a look downstairs. Well, there's bicycle and ski racks, and also a very clean toilet. By the door there's bins and an information screen which shows that we'll soon be passing Olten. And at Rothrist we cross the Areure for the run into Olten. Olten is another busy junction station, being the meeting point of no fewer than 5 different lines. And with it being a crossing point for east-west and north-south lines, it's again no surprise to see so much freight at this junction. The landscape at Decommission is dominated by the cooling tower of the nearby KKG nuclear power plant, which has been producing electricity here since 1979. Well, this is probably a good time to talk about fares. I'm travelling on a 10 days in 2 months first class senior, over 60s that is, Interrail pass. This cost me just £312 using their 25% discount on their 2023 Black Friday sale. But if you're just buying the ticket in Switzerland, well, it's as varied as anywhere else in Europe. But an example cost from Trainline for this journey could be around £88 first class or £49 second class. Well, it certainly makes my Interrail pass look a very good deal. And it does look like the Swiss Army has a whole lot more gear than just a box of pocket knives. Once we really picked up speed on the final third of the journey beyond Bern, the ride quality really was quite poor. Walking back to my seat from the restaurant was a fairly unsteady affair, and I had to make a lot of use of the grab handles. Sadly, these trains were in fact the worst ride quality of the whole week in Switzerland. At least this final section of the run into Zürich follows the River Limmat. And the Swiss Life Arena heralds our arrival into the city of Zurich. And now we're passing the extensive rail yards just beyond the Hauptbahnhof before our units are piloted into one of the station's terminus platforms. And that's it. No sooner are we here and the passengers have alighted and boarded the train, it reverses away from the station on the last leg of the journey to Höhe. It looks like just as at Geneva Airport there was a driver waiting on the platform to ensure a fast turnaround. And then that's it. That's my first ride in Switzerland from Geneva or Geneva Airport down here to Zurich, and yeah, it was pleasant enough. Probably the highlight was that view just coming out of Lausanne looking back down Lake Geneva. Wasn't that amazing? I thought that was great. And lunch was fine, you know, soup and some bread and a beer, that was decent. And of course it might be quite expensive, but you also pay for the view as you're eating, and it really was a wonderful way to spend some time. Although I'm very pleased I went back to first class, because in fact the restaurant car seats were sort of quite uncomfortable after you'd been sat in them for an hour. So yeah, I was pleased to enjoy the final hour back in the first class seats, and I hope you enjoyed the views out of there as well. So for now, thank you very much for watching, and do subscribe and all that stuff. But yeah, stick around for more videos from Switzerland. You can count on it. And as they get released, you'll find all of my Switzerland trips here on the Switzerland playlist.